पन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. Pranams everyone. So we are in the 4th chapter, Sloka number 19. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yasya sarve samārambhāḥ Kāma sankalpa varjitaha Jnāna karmanam Tamahu panditam buddhaha. So, in the last class we had completed Sloka number 18, and in Sloka number 18 Bhagavan said, see action in inaction and see inaction in action. Or rather he said, he who sees actionlessness in the action of the body, as in actionlessness of the self, actionlessness, Ātma is Akarma. And he who sees the action even if the body is supposedly stationary or in the state of inaction, he is a wise person. He is a yogi who has accomplished everything. Bhagavan said, Saha yuktaha saha kritsna karma krit. So what we established there is Ātma is Akarta. Even when the body seems to be in the state of action, Ātma, the self, is always in a state of actionlessness. Now, we saw that this is actually an important concept, and therefore Bhagavan has been repeating this concept even in this chapter. He has already given this particular knowledge in chapter 2. He is again repeating it here, and from Sloka 19 until Sloka 24, these are just merely more explanation on the same topic. And here in this Sloka, Bhagavan says, a Jnani who has understood himself to be the Ātma, a Jnani who has identified himself to be the Ātma, a Jnani who has taken ownership on the Ātma, a Jnani who is detached himself from the body. He is clear that he is not the body. His actions will also need to be seen as state of inaction. Although he may be acting, you can say a Jnani is in a state of actionlessness. In other words, Jnani's karmas are also Akarma. What is the state of a Jnani? Jnani is Akarta. Jnani is Akarta. That means whatever he does or whatever actions that come out of a Jnani's body does not give Jnani the papa or punya. Jnani's actions will not bind him. Jnani's actions must be seen as Akarma. That is the angle in which Bhagavan is going to approach this Sloka here. For that we saw last time, can Ātma renounce karma? See, there are only two things in this world, Ātma and Anātma. Ātma is Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa, Anātma is the entire universe. Anātma includes the body, includes the mind. And this body and the mind gets enlivened by Ātma. Now, this Ātma, can it renounce karma? So, then the question is, renounce sannyasa. Can we say karma sannyasa? Can Ātma do karma sannyasa? Karma sannyasa means, can Ātma renounce action? When is Ātma So the question that we have to ask is, can Ātma renounce action? No, it cannot renounce action. Ātma cannot renounce action, because only if it is doing action it can renounce. Only if you are doing something, only if you are having something, you can sacrifice it, you can renounce it. Ātma was never in a state of action for it to renounce action. Therefore, Ātma cannot do karma sannyasa. Now, if Ātma cannot do karma sannyasa, can Anātma do karma sannyasa? Can Anātma renounce karma? Now, if we say yes, because Ātma cannot, and therefore Anātma is the one which should be doing the karma sannyasa, then that too is wrong. Because in the previous shloka we saw, see the karmani in akarmani. Even though the body seems to be in a state of rest, see the action of the body. The body and the mind, the Anātma, can never go to rest at all. That is what Bhagavan had said in the previous shloka. The body and the mind can never be in a state of rest. Or rather, the Anātma in this world can never be in the state of rest. Therefore, Anātma can never renounce action. Being inactive is also in a state of action for the Anātma. What it means is that state of inaction could be because of tamas or because of sattva guna. So sattva guna or tamas guna, the guna is still prevalent, and therefore it is also in a state of action. And therefore Anātma also cannot do karma sannyasa. Then the question comes, if Ātma cannot do karma sannyasa, if Anātma cannot do karma sannyasa, then who is doing karma sannyasa? Or in other words, is karma sannyasa even happening? The answer to that is, nobody can renounce actions directly or physically. Karma sannyasa can only happen, or renouncing actions can happen only through knowledge. Knowledge, only through Jnāna Karma Sannyasa can happen. That's why this chapter is called as Jnāna Karma Sannyasa. Now, then the question comes, who can do Jnāna Karma Sannyasa, or when does Jnāna Karma Sannyasa happen? It can happen only to a person who has taken up internal sannyasa. In other words, there is a person, all of us for that matter, we are not doing any karma. The self is not doing any karma. But we think that we are doing karma. And when we get that jnana, that I am that Akarma Ātma, that is when the karma gets sannyasa, the actions get renounced. And that happens when I get that knowledge that I am that Ātma. So when I get that jnana, that sannyasi who has been able to renounce actions through jnana, that Jnani alone is capable of doing Jnāna Karma Sannyasa. This seems to be very technical, it will be very technical, but it is very important to know, because as we grow spiritually, once we are in the state of mananam, where we are able to understand this knowledge, once we have crossed the stage of karma yoga, upasana yoga, when we are in the stage of jnana yoga, where we are able to grasp this knowledge, when the intellect has turned subtle, these questions will arise in our mind, in our intellect. And that's where we have to logically be able to understand this. Because we could get confused here. We just now saw that Ātma and Jnani are one. And we also saw that Ātma cannot do karma sannyasa. But what we have to understand here now is, We are talking about renouncing through knowledge. Ātma does not perform actions, but through ignorance thinks it is doing the actions. When we say Ātma, the self is not doing any action, but through the ignorance, the self thinks it is doing actions. And therefore, because it is through ignorance can be only overcome through knowledge, and therefore through knowledge it is able to renounce the actions. So Ātma or a Jnani or a Jiva is not performing actions, but because of ignorance thinks he is performing actions, and the only way for him to renounce those non-performing actions is through knowledge only. Jñāna Karma Sannyasa. And it is not that after renouncing you get the feeling that I have renounced the actions. That happens only if you have actions in the first place. If you have been doing, you know that okay, this is only an action, this is only a knowledge. There will be no feeling of I have renounced also. If I have something in my hand and I give it to someone, I will know that okay, I had this something in my mind, I have given it. If there was nothing in my hand in the first place, where is the question of renouncing, giving it up? So Ātma was never doing actions in the first place to renounce. It is just through knowledge that this renunciation happens. It is just a correction in the intellect. So a Jnani is one who has renounced actions through Jnana. And all the coming slokas we will talk about Jnāna Karma Sannyasa, and we will also say that actions a Jnani whatever actions that a Jnani performs are not actions at all. And Bhagavan will discuss this about this topic and conclude it in the 24th sloka. That is the essence of this chapter. Jnāna Karma Sannyasa is the title of the chapter. Title has to be remembered. Now let's go to the sloka. Yasya sarve samārambhāḥ kama sankalpa varjitaha. Yasya sarve, yasya means he whose, the persons whom we are talking about, he whose. Yasya means yatokta darshanaha, the person who had that knowledge and was talked about in the previous sloka. In the previous sloka, Bhagavan said that person is a buddhiman, manushyeshu buddhiman, he is a wise among the person, he is saha yuktaha, saha kritsna karma krit. That wise person, we are talking about the same person here in this sloka. So yasya means the person whom we are referring into in the previous sloka. That person who has that knowledge, who is able to see karma in akarma, akarma in karma. Yatokta means that which was said before. Darshanaha means the knowledge. Okay, what will happen? Yasya. What will happen to that person? Bhagavan is going to talk about such a person from now on. Such a Jnani. Samārambhāḥ. Samārambhāḥ means actions. Samārambhāḥ means actions. Why do we say samārambhāḥ as actions? Is samyak ārabhyate iti samārambhāḥ. Arabhyate, samyak arabhyate iti samārambhāḥ means arabhyate means which has started. Samyak, all those things that have started. So all actions, because actions have a start and an end. So samārambhāḥ means actions. Sarve, all. And here sarve means the Sampradaya Guru says sarve means both Vaidika activities and Laukika activities. It is not that the actions that I do in the office are not counted. Actions that I do with my relatives and friends are also only the ones that have to be considered. Sarve means all actions. Vaidika actions, Laukika actions, all activities throughout the day. Sarve. How are these actions of a Jnani? Bhagavan says, Kama sankalpa varjitaha. Bhagavan is describing these actions that are started and performed by a Jnani as Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha. Varjitaha means free from. It is free from what? Kama Sankalpa. Kama and Sankalpa. So actions coming in from a Jnani, they are free from Kama and Sankalpa. Again, Bhagavan is not giving any new information, he is just stating the facts here. And what can we infer from here? If actions coming out of a Jnani are free from Kama and Sankalpa, then actions that come out of an Ajnani are full of Kama and Sankalpa. In the case of Ajnani, he still has Kama, he still has Sankalpa. What is the meaning of Kama and Sankalpa? There are various meanings there. We'll see a couple of them. Kama means desires. That is the easy understanding. Kama means desires. Desires in the mind. And Sankalpa means that which is responsible for the desire. Kamaihi iti tat karanaha sankalpaihi varjitaha. That which is the cause for the desire. The cause for the desire is called sankalpa. How do we differentiate between Kama and Sankalpa? Desire, Kama means desire. Desire means an ichcha for me to have that object. An ichcha for me to experience that object, to enjoy that object. That is called as desire. Now, a desire does not come all of a sudden. We go in the road, in the streets, there are so many things that we happen to see. Do we get desires in all of them? We don't. Some objects, they register in our mind better. And even then, they do not create a desire. But what we do is, once after that gets registered, we bring back the thoughts of that object in our mind. We keep bringing it back. When we keep bringing it back, that is called as Sankalpa. Bhagavan has talked about this in the second chapter also. If you remember the 8 steps of fall, around chapter 268, the sloka, around that Bhagavan would have talked about how this Sankalpa converts itself into desire, desire converts it to anger, anger converts into delusion, and delusion leads to destruction. Here Bhagavan says, Kama Sankalpa Varjitaha, he is free from that initial Sankalpa, and that Sankalpa which is the cause of the desire. Kama, if Kama is a structure, then it is built by the bricks of Sankalpa. That's what we can say. This is one meaning for Kama Sankalpa. Another meaning is Kama means desires on the results of the action. We always do certain actions because we expect something out of it. Our desire is not on the action, our desire is on the results of the action. And therefore Kama means desire on the results of the action. Phalatrishna Kamaha. So it is an ichcha on the phalam of our action. Now Sankalpa means here, Sankalpa means the attraction we have on the phala. The moha that we have on the result of the action. We also call it as pritihi. The Sankalpa is the one which, that pritihi is what induces us, makes us perform the action, that attitude within us. So Kama means Phalatrishna and Sankalpa means pritihi. That one has on the results of the action. Sankalpa means the cause for the desire here too. The attachment that I have on the results of the action. So one is desire on the results, The second one, sankalpa, means the attachment I have on the desires of the action, on the results of the action. So sankalpa is an attitude. So again, Jnani's action is free from kama and sankalpa. Kama sankalpita varjitaha. Now to the second line. Jnanagni dagda karmanam. Jnanagni. Bhagavan is giving a popular example here. A burnt seed, a seed which is roasted, when it is planted, it will not give rise to a plant or a tree. It will not grow at all. When a seed is roasted, it does not have the ability to get a plant out of it, nourish a plant, or be able to convert itself into a plant. In the same way, a Jnani's actions will not give rise to any papa or punya. Jnana Agni Dagda Karmanam. Jnana Agni means the fire of knowledge. Dagda means burnt. What are burnt in the fire of knowledge? Karmanam. The actions whose actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge. And again, when we say karma here, karma means both karmas. There could be Shubha karma, Ashubha karma. The phalam, we are talking about the results of the action. So the Shubha karma, Ashubha karma phalam is papa or punya. Those are burnt. So which means a Jnani's action does not produce any papa or punya. So what does this mean? See, if a jiva needs to have a next birth, on what basis do we get that body, the next body? Shastra say the body for the next birth is based on our papa and punya. The body is a product of our papa and punya. We have to understand this. This is not being given by anybody else. It is not the results of parents. In science we can attribute it to parents, genes and all those things. But according to Shastras, it is based on our own karma. That's why when we listen to the karma theory, the first benefit we get is an attitude of acceptance. Our body and the issues that we get in the body, the physical problems that we have in the body, it is not given by anybody else. It is based on our papa and punya. Every action that we do, whether we do it for somebody else or to ourselves, or whether somebody does it to us or to somebody else, all actions are going into a supercomputer only. It does not directly impact the other person. That results of the actions that other person gets is a result of the karma phala that this particular jiva has got or done. So we have to understand this. The body and the issues that we get from the body is a result of papa and punya or our own karma phala. Bhagavan says the papa and punya, which is the karma phala, has been burnt. How is it being burnt? Through jnana. Therefore, a jnani will not get another janma. There seems to be a seed still, but it does not give rise to a new plant. And why Bhagavan is giving this example? The jnana does not burn one karma. It does not burn one karma alone, and that is prarabdha karma. It burns the sanchita karma. The agami karma is not even produced. But the prarabdha karma has to be gone through, has to be exhausted. So the jiva continues its life in the body, but it makes sure that the next body does not happen. The karma does not give rise to a new body. There is no punarjanma. So sanchita karma is burnt, agami karma is not produced, but prarabdha karma, for a jnani, it does not matter. A jnani does not worry about the prarabdha karma. So that is what jnanagni dagdha karmanam. So next, Bhagavan says, tamahu panditam buddhaha. Buddhaha means sages. Tam ahuhu means call him. Ahuhu tam. Sages call him, this person. Buddhaha ahum tam panditam. Panditam means wise. So, who is this person? The one who has burnt the karma pala through jnana. He is being called as panditaha by the wise people. Now, what is panditaha? Panda means self-knowledge. Itaha means panditaha means panda plus itaha. Panda means self-knowledge. Itaha means endowed with. So panditaha means endowed with self-knowledge. One who has Ātma Jnana. In other words, one who is a Jnani. So, one who is a Jnani, for him, his actions are all free from desires and fancies, or kama, free from the desire and sankalpa. His actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge, and then the sages, Buddhaha, call him Panditaha. Panditaha means Ātma Jnana, one who has Ātma Jnana, Jnani. Now, remember the first verse with which Bhagavan begins the teaching in the second chapter, 11th Sloka. Bhagavan started with Ashocyan Anvashocastvam Prajnavadamscha Bhashase Gatasun na Gatasumscha na Anusochanti Panditaha. There Bhagavan used the word Panditaha. Panditaha Bhagavan is defining here. Who is the Panditaha? Who has roasted his ahankara, who has made it incapable of producing grief. Na anusochanti. Ahankara, if we roast it, it can only produce healthy actions. Roasted ahankara is incapable of producing grief, sorrow. So that Panditaha is being referred here. So Buddhaha means sages, or we can say wise people. So only wise people will be able to give this title that to the other person as Panditaha. Why Bhagavan says this? Just like in any other field also. For if you want to have a Nobel Prize winner for physics, then the panel should be also be from physicists. They have to have a lot of physicists, well-read physicists, to be able to recognize another physicist. So, or let's take music. To be able to appreciate Carnatic music raga, one must have that musical sense or knowledge in that person also. So similarly, a Jnani can be identified or can be chosen or can be identified. Let's put not chosen, can be identified only by wise people. Only wise people can recognize another wise people. And such wise people call him Panditaha. So the purport of the sloka, the essence of the sloka is, he whose actions are all free from desires, he whose actions are free from sankalpa, fancies, that he has, and whose actions he has no fancy on the results of the action also, and he whose actions are all burnt by the fire of knowledge. That means he whose actions do not produce any papa or punya. Sages, wise people, sages call him wise person or a Jnani. This is the purport or essence of this sloka. Now in the next sloka, sloka number 20, Bhagavan is going to give the same concept. We'll go to sloka number 20. Tyaktva karma pala sangam Nityatripto nirashrayah karmanyabhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti sah. Tyaktva karma pala sangam Nityatripto nirashrayah karmanyabhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti sah. In the last sloka we saw that prarabdha karma will continue to be there in a Jnani's life. We saw that the agami karma is not created, sanchita karma is burnt, but the prarabdha karma will continue to be there. And the prarabdha karma for a Jnani, for different persons, will be there in different. Okay. They will be going through different prarabdha karmas. The prarabdha karma, once it is given, or once the prarabdha karma is written on a person, or once, for example, what is prarabdha karma? The results that we will have to go through in this life. It is kind of written. It is kind of established. It is kind of cannot be changed at all. The prarabdha karma cannot be changed for anybody, whether it is a Jnani or an Ajnani. When the moment we are born, the parents that we, or even before we are born, even when we are conceived, the prarabdha karma is written as to who's going to be the parents, what sort of early childhood we will have, what sort of life we will have, what sort of until what age we will be living, what sort of pain and pleasures we will go through. That is kind of given. And for each jiva, the prarabdha karma will be different. That's why even though when you are twins, when you are born alone the same time, the planetary positions being almost the same, still people undergo different lives. Because prarabdha karma is different. So here again, even for a Jnani, different Jnanis will have different prarabdha karma. And therefore some prarabdha karma will result for a Jnani will be in such that they will be in sannyasa ashrama. So they will be in nivritti rupa. Some Jnanis prarabdha will be such that they will continue to be in pravritti marga. As in, they will continue to be in grihastha ashrama. So Bhagavan is going to talk about these two types of Jnanis. So from now on, in the coming slokas, we will have to see which Jnani is Bhagavan talking about. Is he talking about pravritti marga Jnani or nivritti marga Jnani? Okay. But both are Jnanis, it doesn't matter. Okay. For both of them, their actions are not going to result in papa and punya. They are not going to have punarjanma. They do not have any kama or sankalpa. Those are all common. And why do we need to understand this? Because there could be a misunderstanding from ourselves that a person who is in nivritti marga, as in one who has taken up sannyasa, that person has already attained mukti. And a person who is in grihastha ashrama, he is still bound by samsara, we could have this feeling. We could have this feeling that this person is bound, that person has been able to escape samsara, or is able to escape samsara means come out of samsara. Now Bhagavan is going to clarify whether a jnani is in pravritti marga or nivritti marga, they would have attained moksha. How? Because they see inaction in action. Karmanya akarmaya pashyet. Karmanya akarmani yah pashyet. They see inaction in action. When the body, mind acts, they realize that they are the inactive Ātma. How are they able to do it? Just like when a cyclone comes, how within the heavy rains and powerful winds, the eye, the center of the storm, that is calm. In the same manner, a jnani will be calm amidst so many activities around him. So in this case, let's say a sadhaka, to attain jnana, with the help of prarabdha, takes up sannyasa. Used all technical terms. Sadhaka, a person who is in the spiritual path, to attain jnana, to attain Ātma jnana, to attain self-knowledge, for the sake of moksha, with the help of prarabdha karma. Because without the help of prarabdha karma, you cannot do anything. With the help of prarabdha karma, he takes up sannyasa. What is sannyasa? We will see that in detail in the next chapter. Next chapter is sannyasa yoga. We will talk about different types of sannyasa and all those things. Now, sannyasa can be taken up either before attaining jnana or after attaining jnana. Both are possible. That's why we say just because somebody is a sannyasi doesn't mean that he has attained moksha. That doesn't mean that nobody who has taken up sannyasa has not attained moksha also. Okay. So one type of sannyasa, he takes up sannyasa before attaining jnana. What for? For the sake of getting jnana. So he takes up sannyasa so that he can attain jnana. Then there are also people like us, we read shastras although we are in the karma marga. So there are people who take up sannyasa to attain jnana, but then there are people who also remain in karma marga also. They do not take up sannyasa. Now Bhagavan here is talking about people who are doing their duties, the second type of people. Not giving up on duties and not renounced the duties and still studying shastras and Vedanta. Now what happens as we study shastras and Vedanta, as we follow karma yoga, as we do sadhanas, we start getting vairagya. And if we attain tīvra vairagya, as we are in the midst of action, we are attaining vairagya. Shastra says you can actually give up the action and take up sannyasa. If you have got tīvra vairagya. Midst of action, how is it possible? No actions can be more than a few minutes. That is what we may think. But in those days, people were doing yajnas. And yajnas in those days can go into months. Some of the yajnas can go for 6 months. Every day they have to come and continue the yajna. They will have very little sleep in between. So, according to Shastras, even in the middle of the 6-month yajna, in 2 months' time you have attained tīvra vairagya, you can stop performing the yajna and take up sannyasa. And if you do that, there will be no papa. Otherwise, you stop an yajna without completing the yajna, you will incur papa. But if you have got tīvra vairagya, you can stop performing the action and take up sannyasa. If a person leaves the duties because of anything else other than vairagya, anything else other than taking up sannyasa, he will incur papa. But if you get tivra vairagya, you take up sannyasa, it is okay. This shloka is not talking about those people also. Then there are other type of people. They are in pravritti marga. They study shastras. They gain vairagya also, tivira vairagya also. Not only tivira vairagya, they are able to get jnana also. But for whatever reason, they are not able to renounce their duties. Kutaschit karanat, Shankaracharya says, whatever be the reason. For whatever reason, they are not able to give up grihasthashrama. They are not able to renounce their duties. They are not able to take up sannyasa. And that happens because of prarabdha. And because of prarabdha, they are not able to move from pravritti marga to nivritti marga. But they have got jnana. Now, what will be the status of their actions? After they attain jnana, what will be the status of their actions? That is the subject matter here. That is what is being discussed here. So it is not about sannyasis who have gained jnana or people who have got tivra vairagya and taken up sannyasa. No. Because why I am saying this, Bhagavan is going to talk about them in the later slokas. Here Bhagavan is going to talk about jnanis who are in pravritti marga, who have attained jnana, who have attained vairagya, who have attained jnana. Though the actions of those people are being talked about here. And so we can use this action in this sloka also as a litmus test. If we pass this litmus test, then we can also say that we have attained jnana, although we are in pravritti marga. Okay, so this can be used as a test for ourselves also. Here Bhagavan says, those people tyaktva karma pala sangam. The mind of that person is being described by Bhagavan here. Tyaktva, renouncing. Asangam, attachment. Tyaktva sangam. Tyaktva sangam. He has renounced attachment. Attachment towards what? Karma pala. Towards the result of the action. So this person has not only renounced actions, he has not renounced actions, he has not given up the actions. I shouldn't use the word only. I should say this person has not renounced actions, but he has renounced the attachment towards the results of the action. In other words, he has renounced the ahankara in actions and attachment in results. How can this person do it? How can they renounce? Who can say, I do not want the results of the action? If we are offered some delicacy that we love to eat, who will say, I do not want? Especially when we can only say when we do not want to have it only if we had already, say, a vada or a samosa. It's a nice rainy evening, somebody brings a samosa, we are also hungry. Who will say, I do not want it? Only if a person who has already had a few samosas will say, no, I don't want it now, maybe I will have it later. So when can I say I do not want? Or so when can somebody say I do not want? Bhagavan says, Nitya triptaha, Nitya tripto nirashtrayaha, Nitya triptaha, remaining ever satisfied, ever contented. When can I say I do not want the samosa? Only when I am already contented. I am already had a few samosas, I am already contented, I can say I do not want. Therefore, a Jnani is always in the state of nitya triptaha. He is always contented, and therefore from tripti arises I do not want. From atripti arises I want. So whenever we have this feeling of I want this, I want to achieve that, I want to receive that, I want to get that, it's a question of atripti. From tripti, it's always a I do not want, I am happy, I am contented. So when does this person says I do not want the results of the action? Only when I am contented. Nitya triptaha. And how did they attain this tripti? We'll have to go back to sloka number 18. Jnanena. And why is we say nitya triptaha? Because he has attained tripti, because he has attained the Brahman which is nityam. Nityam why? Ever. Because Brahman is eternal. Nityam. And because he has attained Brahman, he has got nitya triptaha. One who is ever contented. Now, one who nirashrayaha, from now onwards, we will see it in the next class. Now we will take some questions. Yes, Ashish ji, you had put up your hand.
Just on this last point that you've made, I think we've always, at least in my mind, I've always had understood this point as we need to first attain the state of karmanyavadhikaraste and ma phaleshu kadachana, right? Without desiring the fruit, we need to be working towards our duties, deliverance, etc. While what you have said just now is that we will not get the phal only if we have attained tripti. So they're kind of, in a way, that chicken and egg situation, what comes first? The tripti will come first, and hence we will not have the karma sanchay, or is it the other way that we do the karma without the desire of a phal from it, and hence there is no karma sanchay?
Okay. So your question is basically whether you will come out of this attachment after you get the jnana, or because you are able to come out of the attachment, you are able to get this jnana. Correct?
That's right.
Okay. The answer is, to get complete detachment, one should have jnana. Jnana will be the cause for somebody to have this complete detachment from the results of the action. Now, relative detachment from the results of the action is possible through karma yoga. Okay. As we do karma yoga, there will be a sense of vairagya that keeps coming into our mind. That vairagya, once we are able to actually nourish that vairagya, we are able to keep up with that vairagya, will make our mind subtle, will make our intellect subtle enough for us to understand that I am actually not this body and mind, I am this Ātma. And once I have this knowledge that I am this Ātma who is all pervading and there is nothing other than me in this world, where is the question of second thing for me to say that I want to have that? So the ultimate nitya tripti, the ultimate detachment can only come out of jnana. Okay. Trust I have explained that. So yes.
So it's so if I've understood the response right, it's kind of, in mathematical sense, it's kind of an iterative process that you are slowly stepping in that zone where you are achieving partly some jnana.
Correct.
And it's helping you in achieving vairagya, and then the vairagya is helping in achieving a little more jnana, and it's kind of going in that loop.
Correct.
Okay.
Just like when you want to learn swimming, you need to, when you want to be able to swim in the river without getting drowned, you need to first get into the water to be able to learn swimming. One cannot learn swimming through theory alone and be able to float in the water, right? You need to get into the water to be able to swim in the water, to learn swimming in the water. And then once you've learned swimming in the water, you will be able to do it better. So these sadhanas, it works both ways. The swarupa of a Jnani becomes the sadhana for a Ajnani. What is Jnani swarupa becomes a sadhana for an Ajnani, for a sadhaka.
I think that's really helpful, Guruji, because more often than not we tend to follow these. At least I was doing it this way. That it is a step-by-step process. It's actually an iterative process. Is extremely important to understand, to avoid the frustration sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not able to do this or that. Yeah, understood. Thank you so much.
No problem. So Ashaji, sorry, you had put a question, said how do we practice Sloka 18 in our daily lives? How do we practice detachment? And in my last class I said practice very first, go for situations, then come to the the people, then the body, and then the mind. So you wanted some kind of examples here. So my suggestion would be to look at situations, each situation. Any situation that is going to give us some problems, some kind of disappointment, pause for a while. For example, there could be like there is a traffic jam, or somebody comes late, or there is a sudden change of plans, or you miss something, you miss a flight. You just pause. You do not let your mood be dictated by these circumstances. You accept those situations. Then you will start seeing that you are actually detached from the results of the actions. You will start accept. The more you accept, the more you feel detached from the situation. Certain things, especially these neutral things, situations like, for example, weather is not conducive, suddenly it's too hot, suddenly there is a power cut, there is a delay, or you go there is a long queue. These are things that small inconveniences that you try to accept them. So let's not get agitated by that. Let's not take it personally. Let's not try to grumble about those things. Let's accept calmly whatever that comes around. So that's one way to actually identify what are those that can be accepted. Whatever happens, I take them as a sadhana. Sometimes those discomforts, I convert them into karma yoga. I do a Ishvara Arpana for that. Saying, okay, if I'm actually in a long queue, waiting, standing, I use that to say, I am standing for you, Bhagavan, take this as my sadhana towards you. So you make it Ishvara Arpana. I am actually sweating, Bhagavan, this is a tapas from my side. I think about Bhagavan during that time, you convert that inconvenience into a sadhana. You keep chanting. That's why Nama Japa is very useful. So that you do that. Then second thing that we can do is basically take upon certain small discomforts voluntarily as a sadhana. So give some body discomfort. Give some mind, be in a place or going for a pilgrimage. All those things are also doing certain things, voluntarily putting the body in a discomfort so that we are able to detach ourselves from the body. So that is the second way to actually try to get some detachment or build some detachment. The third thing is try as much as possible to do only the duties. Try not to go too much of enjoyment. Focus on doing the duties as much as possible. And as we do that, because we are continuously keeping duties, we will, and by doing the duty as if we are doing it for Bhagavan, it helps us as well. So then it it creates bhakti. And bhakti is a very important portion. We will have to have a Ishtadevata to start with, whom we are able to engage, whom we are able to talk, whom we are able to connect to. And we establish that rapport, and slowly that also helps in building some detachment with the external world, because we are always attached to something or other. The more we are attached to Ishvara, the less we have attachment on people and relationships. The more we hold on to people and relationships, the less we are attached to Ishvara. So we need to make the choice. We need to make the choice to convert our attachment from people, or move our attachment from people, objects, situations, relations, possessions to Ishvara. That way we can slowly build detachment as well. And that way we can do, we can probably expand much more if you want in the next class. Again, we are in the paucity of time. So I hope this explains or answers. If you need any more, then we can always discuss in the next class.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, I totally understand this approach, and I think it's easy to practice it also. So thank you so much for that reply.
Okay. We'll see more in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.